My earliest memories of the Xbox are tinged with deep suspicion because I was a PC gamer, and when Microsoft announced it was getting into consoles, I wasn't entirely keen, and I wasn't entirely convinced it would work.
When you first saw it, you wanted the one little light to glow inside. You wanted it to be a big beam of light, like something out of Tron. And I've never quite got over that disappointment, but I've somehow brought myself to forgive them for it.
Well, I think when the Xbox actually originally came out, I was at art college learning to be a pretentious idiot, so I didn't have a lot of time to play games back then. But I do remember that my brother had an Xbox, and I didn't really kind of understand it. I was sort of mystified by it.
It was a bold move for Microsoft to move into gaming, and the console was gigantic.
It just looked much heavier and more serious and more like substantial, and manly than every other console.
It looked like this kind of small house on his table.
The thing was massive. You can't deny that it was an absolutely huge sort of doorstop.
Like a sort of a shaft of darkness in the middle of the living room.
But it's quite big.
The absolutely giant control of that huge redundant gem in the centre that you eventually grew to love, but initially you're just like, what is the point of this?
The Xbox console itself was this huge, clunky brick. It didn't look particularly elegant. It had some quite peculiar games on it.
Microsoft had a bit of a presence in gaming before, certainly in the PC. I mean, I was a big PC gamer, but it did seem a really strange move. But actually, you could tell they were in it for the long haul. That's the thing about Microsoft is they knew with the first Xbox that it was just about producing a better console, right? And introducing some of the ideas like Xbox Live, like having a hard drive, introducing those ideas to people and building on that.
It's Microsoft, they're doing a console for the first time, and everyone, I was working in Future at the time, and everyone had a theory. And the day the Xbox first came down, I still remember because they brought an Xbox down, but it wasn't an Xbox. There had nothing inside it, and then the controller was attached. And they sort of funneled all the journalists into the room, like a group at a time, and they gathered around this complete facsimile of the Xbox and sort of stared at it for a bit. I've never seen a journalist try to take something the whole thing was inherently ludicrous with complete and utter seriousness.
Everyone was used to having their games consoles come from Japanese companies, and so yeah, there was definitely a lot of pessimism around it when it was first shown.
When Microsoft launched the Xbox, I think gamers were a little bit uncertain. I think publishers were much more enthusiastic. The initial stages were, if we made a console, what would you want it to be like? And there was a good deal of game developers and publishers saying, well, the big problem with console gaming is this.
At the time, I saw the way games were going, and the idea that essentially single formatting games would be increasingly a rarity. They'd be cross-developing. I could see that was coming anyway. So the fact that it was easy support from the Xbox to the PC, rather than like the PlayStation to the PC, made me prefer the Xbox because it would mean there's more development money that would go towards the PC. That was my quite cynical way of looking at it. Cynical and realistic, and also I think correct.